welcome. I cannot express to you how thrilled I am to be here in front of you tonight. Every single one of you, I'm just thrilled. In life, we kind of keep in our heart that we don't always tell everyone about, but we know about that dream, that thing that we've always wanted to do, that we never really believe, because we don't always believe strongly in ourselves. I'm here to tell you that what I do now in life is my dream. And that's why I'm here, so happy to be here with you. Because what I do is I stand in a place of service. That service is to spirit. Some of you are familiar with spirit, you already work with spirit. Some of you don't already know or are familiar, and we'll go over these things. But when you follow your dream, and it is your passion, and it is in a place of service that you stand to help others, there is nothing like it. And it goes on and on and on. So that is why I'm thrilled to be here with you tonight. Because I'm here for you, not for me. Again, as you know my name, Elizabeth Kullen. Welcome very, very strongly to Summer of Spirit, the Lilydale Experience. Before I go into the formal program, I would very much like to sink into a very strong energy. One of the strongest energies that I have come to know is the energy of gratitude. If you pray once in a day, if you meditate once in a week, allow me to recommend that it is in gratitude. Because in gratitude, the universe recognizes that energy that you send out and brings it back to you 100 times. Gratitude is so powerful. That's why we say grace, that's why we say thank you, and it always comes from a place in the heart. So before we start the formal program, I'd really like to say thank you to a couple people. As it takes a village to raise a child, it takes an enormous number of people and things to get a presentation together. And first I'd like to thank Amy and John DeLuca, 25 years of bringing us wonderful presenters and just metaphysical experiences, enlightenment, that we all leave feeling that much lighter and that much more aware. So thank you, John and Amy, for all your work on this presentation and bringing it together. Second, I would like to thank the man who has been the liaison between this wonderful interfaith church of Pebble Hill and New Hope Metaphysical, and that is Gary Schoenberg. Thank you, Gary. This is a man, allow me to tell you, that every time I have a fear or a wonder or can we do this, I go to him. And this man comes to anyone to help with the brightest smile to light up this world I have ever seen. Thank you, Gary. Next, I'd like to thank the man who created our wonderful flyer. The flyer is beautiful. Scott Alley, would you stand up, please, Scott? And he puts his time in as a brand new board member. And thank you, Scott. You've done such a beautiful job with that flyer. I'm very much indebted to you.
It was a pleasure making it.
There's a man who has gone above and beyond what anyone would ask. This man has run himself crazy trying to put together an enormous promotion, not only for this presentation, but for New Hope Metaphysical in general. This man, unending energy, and I can only say gratitude to the ends of the earth, to Sean Berkeley. Thank you, Sean. Now there's a woman who most of you have never met, who has helped me along my path of learning psychic and mediumship skills by allowing me to practice on her every day of my life. And I'm very thankful to her because whenever you work on something, whenever you hone something, you must practice. You must practice. You have to make it your life. If you really want to be good at it, you make it your life. And I would like to thank my mom. And lastly, but far from least, There's a time in our lives when we do not even believe in ourselves. And there's that one person who stands up and says, I believe in you. You are amazing. This is a man whose words do not suffice to thank. And that's Chaz Blair. Again, gratitude. Before we end the gratitude, again, I want to thank every single one of you who came here tonight, because your energy signature is part of what has created the wonderful night that we have in store for us. This would not be the same without every single one of you. So thank you to you and you and you. And of course, to the heavens, to my guides, to my angels, to my loved ones in spirit, and to the ascended masters, teachers of energy, to spirit in general. At this time, I would like to do an invocation, and that is something like a prayer that brings in good energies for us. I believe that's very important for all of us to do on a regular basis, and I would like to do that before we actually start the formal program. Before I do this, I'm going to say 2 disclaimers. I'm a very courteous and polite person, and I realize that you don't all use the same vocabulary that I use. If you say creator, and I say God, if I say universe, and someone else says the divine, you fill in your words, because I don't wish to offend anyone. Okay? The second disclaimer is that everything I explain to you tonight is from my own experience. As this says, the Lilydale experience, nothing I give you is aimed to be a fact that you can look up on Google, because that you can do without me. What this is all about tonight is my experiences, what I have come to know, what I have come to learn, how I have come to develop. So please realize that as I go through, it may be that I tell you something that I've learned about mediumship skills, that another medium will tell you something different that they learned. I can only give you my experiences, and that's what I'm here tonight at your disposal to do. Okay? So that being said, if everyone would kind of find a place in their heart for a very short prayer, an invocation of the energies. I ask the white light of the Holy Spirit to surround us and be within us. I pray to be a channel for peace, love, and healing. I ask the spiritual guidance teams of all those that are present here tonight to come and be a part of things with us. I ask that there be peace, healing, and empowerment to all of the journeys of all those who are here this evening. I ask Archangel Michael to surround us in his bubble of blue protective light, so that no energy, entity, spirit, spell, nor witchcraft may enter this space. Thank you, Archangel Michael. I ask Spirit to be strong tonight, to speak through me directly into the hearts of all of those who are here. I thank Spirit for what it brings. Be peace be with all. Amen. Before I tell you anything about Lilydale, I need to first be sure that you understand the bare essence of what Lilydale is all about. Lilydale is not just about communicating with those who have passed. It is also about a way to live your life in the present. Lilydale is about spirit. And again, spirit may be something you work with every day, but there are a lot of people who don't really understand what it's all about. So allow me to start from the beginning and move up to where you are, okay? Spirit is divine love. It surrounds you every day of your life. It lives in your heart. It sits next to you in the car on your way home from work. It's that voice that says, oh, not that one. It also says, This is an opportunity for you. Don't be afraid. Spirit is your constant companion. You are never, ever alone. In those sad moments when you feel a hand on your hand or an arm around your back, that's spirit. Loved ones in spirit are spirit. Angels are spirit. Our ascended masters are spirit. Those people who live in Lilydale, who support Lilydale, and all the reasons why Lilydale was first created was in order that people could live in a spiritualist type of community where it was recognized as an everyday occurrence. And those people believe in that, and that's how they live. It is the philosophy of spiritualism. And when you come to know it, it's like someone turned on a lamp. There's so much light that you have no idea what came before. I do have something to pass out that I'd like to pass out. What is coming around is the basic principles of the philosophy and science of spiritualism. I'm not going to go over every point with you. You can read it on there. However, I think it's important that you know what it's all about. So when you hear someone talking about spirit, whether you've been to Lilydale or whether you talk to a medium who's talking about spirit, you know what they're talking about. I will tell you that I always dreamt of being a medium, of being a psychic. And I saw things from the time I was young, but I didn't know what to do with those things. I would see beings of light, and I didn't know what to think about that. I could feel presences around me. Male, female, familiar, unfamiliar. I didn't know what to do with them. And when I came to meet other psychics and mediums, they showed me how to communicate. It's not something that you generally grow up and you're taught what to do. So I had to learn step by step what to do with the things I was picking up. Spiritualism works with that every day. Now, what I do today is I am a psychic medium. I meet one-on-one with people who have a problem, a challenge, an obstacle. Maybe they come to a Y in the road of their life and they don't know whether to go left or right. Or maybe they're possibly in a sad time. And in that sad time, they just don't see the light. They don't know how to step out of it. This is when people come to me and I meet with them. And what happens, essentially, to tell you very specifically, is I'm able to see their angels come in, and they're always specific to you. Whatever's happening in your life, I may never have met you, not know one single thing about you, but your angels come in around you. And what they're doing with you, it may be they're soothing you because you're going through a period of grief. It may be they're running a zillion errands because you've got your plate super full. Angels do a lot of things. They don't usually communicate with me in a direct manner. I don't really need them to. But they always tell me what's going on with that person. Usually, if there's a really important question, when I meet with a person, it's their spirit guides that I ask the question of. Because your spirit guides always know what's in your best and highest good. It may not be what you want, but it's always in your best and highest good. And they will step forward and they will tell me, this is what she needs to work on. This is what's most important. Sometimes they come through with 2 things, sometimes they come through with 8 things. But they are always in your best and highest good. Your loved ones in spirit come in third. I ask for them third. Unless you have a question directly to a loved one in spirit, I don't ask them first, because they're still your loved one. And whatever they were saying to you when they were on the earth plane may still be what they're saying to you after they passed over. A lot of times there's enlightenment. A lot of times they see a bigger picture. But the spirit guides are always telling you what is in your best and highest good. So when I meet with a person, that's what I see, and that's what I advise them with. Not every medium sees all of these. Sometimes a medium will only see your loved ones in spirit. Sometimes they only see angels. Lots of mediums do not do medical intuition. Allow me a disclaimer on that one. Medical intuition is not doctor advice. Mediums and psychics cannot prescribe, and they should not be. But they can tell you if they see inflammation or if they receive a warning. Sometimes if you have multiple problems and you don't really know which one to go with first, they will show me a bright area. And that's the one they want you to work on first. So, medical intuition also moves equally over to your pet. I used to work for a chiropractor. And while I was working for the chiropractor, I ran the whole wellness center in the physical therapy department. And people would bring their dogs in for acupuncture, acupressure, and I could see from across the room, highlighted, a certain hip or a knee or something like this. While I was doing physical therapy, I could just feel, without even touching or looking, I could feel if a person's C1 was out. That's the atlas, that's the highest vertebrae. That's virtually what your skull sits on. And I could tell that was out. The chiropractor missed it. So, although it's not perfect medical intuition, it can be a help. Interestingly, and I won't go into too much of this because I don't know who may be interested in this, but as a psychic, you can pick up the thoughts of people, especially if they're projectors. Some people tend to receive more easily, some people tend to project more easily. We can all do both. But it's interesting when you're used to picking up the thoughts of people, very linear type thoughts. With pets, it's very different. Some people wonder what their dog is thinking. Let me tell you. It's not a lot. Your dog is thinking things like where he likes to lay down and what he wants to eat more of. I don't know how many dogs I've been in communication with, and they show me something that their owner feeds them that maybe is not usual. Like maybe spaghetti noodles or something like that. And they'll tell me, say, do you feed your dog spaghetti noodles or whatever? And they're like, yeah. And so what they are trying to do, the dog that is they're not directly telling me, tell him to give me more. They're kind of like floating, their thoughts float. But it's really neat. And they also show you their history. There was a dog that I ran across by accident one time, really. I was out hiking with my mom. A beautiful white husky came and laid down, and I just loved on her a little. And I saw an area of her back that had been highlighted. And I said to her owners, I said, she has inflammation on her back. I said, what happened? They said she had been abandoned in the forest for about 6 months with a harness that grew over she grew around that harness. You couldn't tell by looking or feeling, but that information was still there. Something that I find interesting about pet psychic information is, why are they in your life? There's a reason. They didn't come in by accident. They're there on a similar path with you in order to provide a service to you. Whether it's a lesson that you'll learn, or whether it's an emotional support, there's always a reason, and a lot of times it has to do with past lives. So it's very interesting to me for pet psychic stuff. I think I'm getting off track here. Okay, so spirit, and who I am and what I do. What else about what I do? Okay, how about I do briefly explain to you how Lily Dale came into the picture with me. For years and years, I was able to pick up these presences and know there was a familiar energy in the room. I didn't know what to do with it. I went to a man named Reverend Gregory Keene, who I will show you a picture of later, and you will have his card on I have a couple handouts for you. To me, he is the most amazing being in the world, and he lives in Lilydale. I went to him for a reading back in 2007, and I read his thoughts. And I said, this is kind of odd. I'm going to a medium and I'm reading the medium. So he told me in the summertime all about Lily Dell. And I needed a plan. And I started visiting. And I started learning. And I think it was 2011 that I sat for the first time in a development circle. That's when you have anywhere from 6 to maybe 20 people who sit in a circle. And the energy comes together strongly. It's led by at least one medium who's very experienced. And you pass messages to each other. Well, I didn't even know what I was walking into. I thought it was something else. I didn't know. I go in, I sit down. It was Reverend Gregory Keene's developmental circle. There was probably maybe 8 or 9 of us. They dimmed the lights. They said a prayer. We meditated 3 or 4 minutes. We were supposed to connect with someone across the circle. And don't you know it? I see a spirit over top the shoulder of a stranger. And I communicated with this spirit, and I said, what do you want me to tell this woman? And it turned out it was her father, and I was able to pass my very first message to a stranger. And I realized how much that helped that woman. And I said, wow, imagine if I could do this, like all the time, to help people everywhere. Because to stand in a place of service to help people, to me, there's nothing better. Okay, so that's how Lily Dale first came into my life. Before I continue with Lily Dale itself, I want to just clarify psychic and mediumship. And I know some of you are probably even psychics and mediums yourselves, but some of you don't already know this. Psychic work and mediumship work are very different. Mediumship work, by definition, is expressly communicating with the other side. Psychic work is information that can come from spirit, which yes is on the other side, but not a particular spirit then. Psychic work, I may say hello and ask you what your name is, and with the vibration of your voice, or just looking at you, or somebody here makes a reference to you, I don't even have to look at you, and that person will ask a question, spirit will drop it into me, and will tell me whatever the problem is, and the rightful answer. That's psychic work through spirit. Okay? So mediumship is expressly with a particular spirit. And it's important because in the field, there's a lot of talk back and forth about psychic and mediumship work. So I want you to be able to understand that. Okay. Okay. I would like to move into Lily Dale, but I want to know before we move on to actually talk about Lily Dale, do we have any questions about what I said so far this night?
Where is Lily Dale?
Okay, I will tell you that in 1 minute when I move on to Lily Dale. Anything about what we've already discussed? Anything about psychic, mediumship work, consultations?
Were you afraid to share your gift that someone might look at you like you're crazy or something?
People look at me every day like I'm crazy. Every day. Every day. And, and sometimes you doubt yourself, and that's probably the worst thing you can do. Because it's almost like it's dishonoring spirit. If spirit's going to come forth with information to bless a person with, then you honor that. And I feel it's a duty to be able to express that message. Because it's not up to me whether they want, I'm not saying walking around in public, but if somebody comes to me and I get something, I need to give it to them, and it's up to them what they do with that. But yeah, except in Lily Dale, they don't think you're crazy. But yeah,
Or you wrote Metaphysical Society.
Right.
Yeah.
We're here. Very good. Thank you. Yes, this is a wonderful, loving, supportive group.
I was wondering, did you think that it was really important for you to do a lot of meditation in the beginning?
I will tell you that I didn't used to meditate. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to do it. I thought, well, I can quiet my mind. Just not think of anything, right? But what I'm finding now, and in the last year, the more I meditate, the more I commune with spirit. To me, and I'm not going to say for anybody else, but for me, the more I pray, the more I meditate, the stronger my spiritual energy is. The more I am led along this path, and the stronger my skills become. Now, I will not just do a meditation that's just a peaceful meditation. A lot of times I'll do a meditation where I'm doing exercises. I'm strengthening the energy points in the brain. And I can't tell you if this is out there in the literature, because I didn't read this anywhere. But for me, I have been able to determine that there are certain energy points in the brain, between the center of the brain and the forehead. And if you can focus on those particular points, you can work on particular skills in spiritual work. To me, it's exciting. As far as I know, it's groundbreaking, but I don't know if there could be volumes out there on that. So, yes, I would recommend prayer and meditation. Absolutely.
When you saw that dark figure behind that girl, did your intuition sense it was her father, or did he communicate that he was her father?
Excellent question. Excellent question. The reason I say this is because you remind me of something I didn't go into. When you read a person, you can pick up the information in many ways. You can hear it, clairaudience. You can see it in your mind's eye, and that's clairvoyance. There's clear tasting, clear smelling, and claircognizance, which means you just know something. And the way you just know it is Spirit has dropped that information into your mind. And then lastly, and for me that are strongest, is clairsentience. And this is clear feeling. Because everything has a feeling. Whether it's a temperature or an emotion, whether it's in the past or in the present. Some mediums walk around, and I don't know how they do this, but they only have one. We'll just say it's clairaudience. They walk around and they're just listening the whole time. It works for them. It works for them. But I thank God and all angels that I actually have all of them. All of them. But my clairsentience is the strongest, far and wide. And if I'm not sure, if they've shown me something clairvoyantly, or they've told me something claircognizantly, I will ask them to allow me to step into that vibration so I can double check on something, so that I can feel then, is that really how it is? Because my clairsentience is so strong. And really being part of a good, being a good medium or psychic, you need to know where your strengths are. Because if you receive something in one of your weaker clairs, then you need to know how to double check that with one of your stronger clairs. Because to bring accurate messages is very important. Was there a question? I thought I saw a hand go up over here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right.
Yes. I wonder, somebody that has your skills, is there a specific color of the aura as well at the biological level, so your pineal glands and how certain frequencies with the heart, and there's certain characteristic in somebody that is a medium. I wonder if that can be defined.
So you're asking about the different colors in the aura, and if that's different for a medium than for...
That can be nature quantified. What makes you read people, from the etheric to the physical level?
What allows me to read people from what level?
Yeah, what is that allows you to read people? What is that allows
Well, there's a vibration to everything.
Sure.
Everything has a vibration. Everything carries a vibration. And it's just like what we were talking about, Sharon Stratton and I, with psychometry. Usually when you go to a psychic and mediumship development class at a very beginner level, they will start you with psychometry. Psychometry is when you take an inanimate object and you step into the vibration of that object, and that object can tell you everything. So that has to do with what you're talking about, because we're talking about vibration. Everyone, including their chakras, carries a vibration. And the vibration of that chakra will tell you what color it is. Now, another medium standing next to me, reading the same person, may see a different color, but that's okay, because that color to that medium means something different than what it means to me. As long as we get the same message, that's all that matters. Or as long, let me say it this way, as long as we both get accurate messages, that's all that matters. Okay? I have to apologize. I don't But
I knew you would.
I didn't forget.
My intuition said you would.
Okay, so her question was, I've got a development circle. When I first read for that stranger, and it was her father. Your question was, how did I know it was her father, right? Okay, this is yet another excellent question. Spirits will find a way to talk with the medium or psychic in your own vocabulary. For example, with me, a spirit will tell me whether it's on the mother's side or the father's side by standing on which side of the person. Before the spirit decides to come in and sit down and have a cup of tea with us, they will tell me who they are. And so they will either be on the left or the right. Now, just to make it challenging and more fun, what they often do is change up the side. I swear to you, and at first I didn't understand it, but it depends on the person. It's not the medium for this. But I can feel, like I'll step into your vibration as far as which side is your mother's and which side is your father's. So who steps in on, say, your left side, your left side, would be on your father's side. Now, for me, if they put their head right directly next to yours, or slightly up, this would be a father figure. Beyond that, higher than that would be a grandfather. And then it goes back. To the side would be an uncle. To the side and lower would be a cousin. A son would be below you. That's right. If it's a son that is not yours biologically, below and to the side.
An ex-boyfriend?
Would probably be standing in the back. So that's an excellent question. Not every medium picks it up that way. They have their own ways. Yeah, we do get a lot of ex-boyfriends, but they understand way in the back. The healing that comes through and asking for forgiveness for things is just heart breaking and warming at the same time, you know. So in this particular case that you're asking me about, it was her father. So stood on her father's side, his head right next to hers, and claircognizantly, he said to me, she has an aspect of her personality that is very strong and decisive, but she's not using it right now. And then he showed me that she was involved with certain things. They don't always show me those details. Doesn't really matter to me, you know. But she's involved with certain things that she really needs to be more decisive about. But she's being, careful about it. And he's suggesting to her that she use that her personality to be decisive and move forward. And I said to her, do you understand this? Because I, of course, don't have a clue what he's talking about. She knew exactly what it was about. She knew about that aspect of her personality, and she knew what to do moving forward when she left that development circle. My first message on her. That's why I remember it so clearly. But, so, excellent questions, both of them. Excellent. Okay, so, at this point, we're getting a little bit close on time before the break. So, what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about Lily Dale, but we need to get into Lily Dale. And I do have some catalogs to pass out for you that are from Lily Dale. There's one for every single person to take home. On that catalog is a card for the man, Reverend Gregory King, who, again, I believe, in my opinion, is the best medium in the world. If you go to Lily Dale, allow me to suggest he would be your first consideration for reading. So we're going to pass them out in just a couple minutes. So I'm going to close the questions now and just talk a little bit about Lily Dale. Can I tell you that Lily Dale is by no accident one of my very favorite places in the whole wide world. It is magical. The energy is amazing. The people there are interesting. And the place is beautiful. It's small. It began as only 20 acres. It is now 160 acres. However, the village itself is only a few streets. It started as a place that people came together as a camp It's still called a camp. A lot of the roads are dirt roads still. And it came together in about I'm going to say 1848, and then 1890s, some of the larger buildings were created. I'm not going to give you all the little details on that, but at the time there were several spiritualist camps through Pennsylvania and through New York State. And these places, again, people came together and they practiced their hands-on healing. They also practiced their mediumship skills. Messages were brought about the changing of the world and about the individual people who went there. So when Lilydale was created, it was in order that there could be a centralized location, not all these little camps throughout the 2 states. One by one, all these little camps kind of started falling apart and Lilydale became it. Lilydale is the largest center for the practice, philosophy, and science of spiritualism in the world. The largest. Lilydale is open all year round, but please go in the warm weather months. You'll see in some of the photos on the second half of the program why I suggest that. In the summertime, we're talking about the end of June through July and August, right on through Labor Day weekend. There are workshops and programs and speakers and presenters that come in from all around the world. Very affordable to do everything there. I believe $15 will get you in for a 24-hour pass to Lilydale. And you will be able to go to all, I think there's 4 or 5 gallery message services that are otherwise free. You could literally get several messages a day. And of course there's workshops, very nominally priced, there's mediums everywhere, and it's beautiful. I will tell you that the first time that I went to Lilydale, the thing that struck me the most strongly of all was when I looked into the eyes of the people there. Because when I looked into the eyes of the other people who were going there, it was like I recognized them. It was that soul recognition, that you know you've met before, that you know you're on a similar path. And it was nearly everybody. So people who are drawn there, they're drawn there for a reason. Just like you were drawn to come for a reason. You may or may not realize what it is, but there's always a reason. I tell my clients all the time, nothing is for nothing. So with Lilydale, I'm going to show you a lot of photographs. I say a lot, probably 20 minutes, in the second half of the program. And you'll be able to see the different buildings and workshops and the presenters and how it looks, how it's set up. Also, I have some photographs for the surrounding area. If you're going to drive almost 7 hours to Lilydale from here, you may want to spend more than just the 2 or 3 days there at Lilydale. You may want to go into Buffalo, which is just north, or visit any of the surrounding areas. So I included some photographs from those things as well. When I took these photographs, I had no idea I was going to be doing a presentation. So they're not really magazine quality, but I think you'll enjoy them. Generally, I go to Lilydale with my bulldog, sometimes with my mom, sometimes with a girlfriend, but it's always a wonderful experience. So let me think, what else can I tell you real quick about Lilydale?
I have a basic question.
That might intro.
How did it start in Lilydale? What was the initial attraction?
There was a location. Yeah, there's a location outside of Lilydale, just really right across the street, where they were originally meeting. And it became a problem. It was somebody's private property. And so this group that had been meeting there decided to get together, and I think for $1,800, bought all of Lilydale. And I don't remember the exact date on that, but I'm going to say 1893, something like that. Don't quote me on that though. I do think we should start passing around the catalog stuff.
We just put the table.
No, I think I want to make sure everybody gets one. Now, in this catalog that's coming out to you, if you take a chance or take a moment on your break, look at the map. Because the map is not that large, and when you see the photos that I'm going to show you, it's actually like a walking tour, and you would be able, if you wanted to, follow it on the map. I'm going to show you nearly every building of significance in Lilydale. There's a lot of little cottages that are cute that maybe I didn't get photos of, but the big places are, you will see the photos. The map, I believe, is on page 3. It's on the first couple of pages.
What made those settings get together in that area as opposed to anywhere else in the country?
It is said that there's a vortex of energy there in Lilydale, and you can feel the difference in the energy. I will tell you that Lilydale was named Lilydale because there are 3 lakes that Lilydale backs up to, Casadega Lakes, and they are prolific with the water lilies. So that's why they call it Lilydale. Some people think that the lily is the spiritual flower, but actually the sunflower has always been considered the spiritual flower. And I do have pictures, you'll see of that as well. What do you do when you go to Lilydale, other than taking part in the gallery messages services? Again, there are presenters from around the world. There are mediums that you can generally walk up and go and have a reading impromptu if they're not already scheduled. But there are so many things that you can do there. You can find your favorite meditation spot, meet other like-minded people. A lot of amazing things there. I mean, we could go on forever about the details of Lilydale, but that's why I'm bringing these books to you, because this starts the end of June. Every season in Lilydale begins with the monks. Tibetan monks come and they create a mandala. Beautiful mandalas that are made with sand and prayer. And I have photos that I will show you of that. And, see what else? Oh, there's, you could actually make a vacation of it. It's not just a matter of having readings there, but you can drop your boat in, you can go kayaking, you can go canoeing. It's a beautiful place. All right, so I'm going to make sure that everybody has their catalogs. It looks like you do. We are going to take a 15-minute break, as it's almost 1:15 now. I have brought nuts for you over here. I have brought bottles of water for you. Newport Metaphysical Society has all kinds of snacks to my left. Also, I have other postcards and photographs that you may want to take a look at for Lilydale over on my table, and a lot of publications that came directly from Lilydale. Okay, so Gavin, can I just put one there for you when I come back?
So if we can break in maybe that 15 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to take a 15, a little bit less than 20-minute break. The bathrooms are downstairs. We're going to set up the projector and have that